Let's hope everything worked. Oh. Yes. Yes. Seems like it has worked. Hello, Tuffy. Thank you for... I've got to turn off my YouTube. That's what I've got to do. I am a professional. Hello, Tuffy. How you doing? We're into the question period of their live streams, as they often do, where they play music in the background and have you answering questions about stuff. So, but I don't know any of these, so... Oh. Well, I kind of knew that one, actually. I wonder whether or not we should do the quiz, or if we should do what I was going to do at the beginning of this. I will get a copyright strike for some Superman. Yeah. I wonder if Games Workshop will copyright or strike me for this music or not. Although you probably can't hear it at the moment, actually. Ah! I think we're going to put that music up a little bit lower, though, actually, because I don't think we really need to be listening to that, do we? So, right, so yeah, we've got the Warhammer Summer Skirmish coming up in just under, what? Just over 10 minutes, I suppose, actually. Has the music just stopped? Oh no, it just got very quiet. Oh dear. I will put the volume up for them when they're talking, though, so don't worry. But yeah, so I put out a video earlier today where I was looking at the squats and stuff, the Leagues of Votan, and I remembered that because I filmed it last week. Skylar Angrifrim is one of the Blood Bowl's most... Well done. You got that one right. Nice one. You know, let's go through those Votan after we've had a look at this next question. Let's do that. I'm impressed with your turn back the clock. That is true, but yeah. So I missed out on talking about the fancy League of Votan. Oh no, let's do question. So the environments of the Ash Waste are perhaps even more deadly than the treacherous innards of the Underhive. Which of the following weather conditions is not real? Shearing sleet, a year in a day. Boiling wind, choking gloom. I'm going to say shearing sleet because I think it's too hot. So I'm going to say A for that one. You think B, a year in a day? I reckon there is something weird about them getting like a year's worth of weather in a day, but you were right about the last one, Tuffy, so I don't know. I was right there with shearing sleet. They have a year in a day. That's crazy. Rust storm, jealous skies, rad storms, and caustic winds are all built. Lightning sleet is rare on the plains of Necromunda. There you go. We're 1 for 1, Tuffy. So, right. Meh. I was wrong. I sense the voice there. It does sound dumb for there to be a year in a day, though, doesn't it? But then that's the kind of thing that Games Workshop would do, isn't it, really? So... There are many Chaos Warbands that walk the path of glory in the wastes below the Varan Spire. Which of these is not a Chaos Warband leader? I'm going to say the Ascended one. I reckon a Heart Eater is one of those Chaos ones. You think the Blazing Lord? The Blazing Lord. Blazing Lord. I'm just worried that that might be one of those fire dudes from one of their warbands that they did recently. Well, not recently, but like last year or something. But I'm going to go with Ascended one. Hello there. How you doing, Grandpa Gamer? Joining in for some Warhammeriness. We're doing the quiz. We're doing the quiz as they have it up on the screen at the moment. So just checking what the time is. I've still got 9 minutes on this. I was right. Ascended one. He's a mere grunt of the unmade warband. Which of the following is a real operative employed by the Orc Commando kill teams in Octarius? Now, if my friend Ben2Tuffy1, yes. If my friend was here in the chat, he would be able to tell me this. But he's not here in the chat. Because he's a loser. Zapper Boy, Slasher Boy, Wrecker Boy, Crumper Boy. I'm going to say Zapper Boy is the... I know which of the following is a real operative. Oh, I'm going to say the Crumper Boy. I'm going to say the Crumper Boy. Because I think there's that... The Crumper Boy is the guy with the, like, mashy thing that, like, smashes through stuff. Oh, it was Slasher Boy. Neither of us got that one. Slasher Boy's so boring, though. As an option, isn't it? Boo. All the orcs are hollering and hooting at the idea of the other three. Yes, I'm sure they are. Yeah, both wrong. I can't see my... There we go. I'm going to put that there. No, wait. I'm going to put that there instead. I'll put that there. Just moving around my mic. The last Tome of Champions added almost every Warhammer Underworlds warband to Warcry. Which Warhammer Underworlds fighter costs the most points? I don't know. Molog the Mighty, Avaron Stormsire, Morgok, Hrothcore, Mantrapper. I'm going to say Avaron Stormsire because he's a Stormcast Eternal. Oh, you own that set. Oh dear, Tuffy. You're going with A. Molog the Mighty. I'm going to go with Avaron Stormsire, which is B. So... Obviously, interestingly, I'm streaming this and there's a little bit of a delay to you going anyway. You're saying Hrothgorn Mantrapper. I guess is that an ogre? So that could mean that he actually does have... Oh, it was Molog the Mighty. Well done, Grandpa Gamer. Well done. He comes in at a mighty 330 points, which is 30 more than Hrothgorn. Oh, so you weren't actually that far off then, Tuffy. So you were second there. If I was doing a quiz, that would be 0.5. More not because he has the shortest name. That's one way of approaching it, yeah. That's one way of approaching it. Can you guys hear the music in the background? Or, like, if I do that, is that way too loud for you guys? Or is that not too bad? I'm going to leave it like that for a moment. Actually, I'm going to turn it back down again just in case it is too loud. But was that too loud, the music in the background? Or not? Many of Sigmar's finest warriors have braved the harrowing dungeons and caverns that make up the settings of Warhammer Underworlds, but which of the following Stormcast warband has the wrong lineup? A. I think. Oh, B. You think B? I think A. That was a bit loud for me to talk over. Okay. Let's put it about halfway then, see if that's okay for everybody. Because obviously when they're I'm not sure whether or not the music's going to be too loud when I'm not sure whether or not their voice is going to be as loud when the stream starts or anything like that, but we'll see. So, it was Gwyn Ironsoul. Of course it was. I don't know half these things, so I don't play the skirmish games. Which is a real shame, actually, because I'm watching this thing about skirmish games. But yeah. So. What have we got next? While the 6 main gangs of Hive Primus are well known, there have been many smaller factions in the history of Necromunda. Which of these gangs has never been part of the game? I'm not looking at the chat. The Spire Hunters are definitely a thing. I think. Well, the Ashways Nomads are definitely a thing. I'm going to say the Hilot Chaos Cults are. I'm going to say that the Gretchen Revolutionary Committee has never been in there. I'm going to say D, yeah. And they didn't just copy you, Grandpa Gamer. So. You're saying C, the Chaos Cults. Okay, we've got a D from Grandpa Gamer. It was the Gretchen Revolutionary Committee. Are we 2-2 now, Tuffy? And Grandpa Gamer's got 2 points as well now, I think. I can't keep track of all these points. I'm going to say we're all winners. So. It's a shame that they weren't in it. It would be cool if they were. Have you seen the model for the Gretchen Revolution? The Red Gobbo is an amazing miniature. See if I can find a picture of the Red Gobbo while this is going on. Actually, I'm waiting for the next question. Here we go. Kill teams are not uniform in size. While the Adeptus Astartes may field only a handful of Gravis armoured Space Marines, a Blood Coven can swarm the table. Which kill team gets the most fighters? Hive Fleet kill team, Greenskin kill team, Imperial Guard kill team, or the Wyrmblade kill team? I'm gonna say it's gotta be Guard, right? I'm gonna say Imperial Guard. Grandpa Gamer saying D. I'm just going to look up the Red Gobbo one. Keep checking back on that. But this is the Red Gobbo. How awesome is he? Amazing. It was the Greenskin kill team, so nobody got that one, I'm afraid. Nobody got that one. Sorry, folks. But how cool was that Red Gobbo, by the way? I prefer that old school version of him. I think he's really awesome. Very, very cool indeed. I've always thought the idea of doing like a Gretchen warband would be pretty awesome, but I never got around to doing it because it costs a lot of... I'm out of this race now. I think everyone's taken a blow this round, I think. Players in Blood Bowl have access to a wide range of game-changing skills that they can use to secure touchdowns or cleverly foul their opponents. Which of the following is not a skill? Titchy is a skill. Cold-Blooded is a skill, I think. Always Hungry is a skill. I'm going to say Fumble Rooski is not a skill. Because Titchy's something that like Gretchen and stuff can have. Like Grots can have, I think. And Goblins. I think Always Hungry is like giants and stuff. And big guys. Because they can just stuff their face full of other goblins and things. And then you got Cold-Blooded, which I think replies to the Lizard Men. Oh, Cold-Blooded is not one. God damn it. We were all wrong again. Why am I getting I thought Cold-Blooded was a skill for some of the Saurus, and they would sometimes not work or something. I don't know. Clearly I got that wrong. It's not a skill.
Hello,
Oh,
everybody,
God, it's begun.
and welcome.
Here we go.
We are live, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today to this special Warhammer Preview
Turn it
online
up a little bit.
Summer Skirmish. I'm joined today by the marvellous Wade Price.
We're going to
how's
put
it
this
going?
on maximum.
Thank you for that effusive introduction. Pleasure to be here.
It is nice.
Yeah, at a more respectable time than some of the previews I've been invited to and delighted to be at earlier on in this year. And on a different day. I think this is our first Sunday preview.
Yes, you do, Tuffy.
Saturday. And early hours of the morning previews this year already. I think this is our first Sunday show.
Maybe show my age. I can't remember that far back, so I couldn't tell you. It might well be.
Yeah.
Of course, we were in each other's company just last night. I'm going to out Wade as a 20-year veteran of Games Workshop.
As is this man here, yes.
Oh God,
we were
their audio.
arrived here not too many hours ago. There was a party
It's still a bit
here at Games Workshop.
weird.
HQ. For everyone who's been with Games Workshop for 10, 20, 30 or 40 years, there was a
amazing.
huge standing
I mean,
ovation
Wade's isn't too
for
bad,
a man by the name
but-
of Clive, who's been at Games Workshop, a member of the family for 40 years, and a few other fine folk as well. So yeah, it was a good night last night, but we're delighted to be back in here today doing what we do. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say best. We certainly enjoy doing it.
That's
talking
probably
about
fair.
Warhammer. That's a fair bar to meet. And it's not just us in this room right now.
I would say listen to that peaking, but
joined
I'm
Raph,
peaking as well,
the man,
probably.
the
So.
machine, the
Hail
tech.
Raph.
Can you hear them
priest
chatting in the
who's making
background?
sure that all the things work properly.
When I'm not
Apparently,
talking?
my audio is peaking, which would explain why Raph has donned his robes of office and is now scurrying around, making sure that everything is working fine.
It's because in all of our mic tests, we were like, well, we were here till reasonably late last night, so we were keeping it reasonably mellow and chilled. And then we started going live, we started getting our excited going loud voices on, and the volume started.
It is at
creeping
least
up, I
75% more exciting when you're live.
A little bit. And you know, there's a lot of people who.
I think Adam probably does need a
little
firmware
quiz, got
update,
the
yeah.
quiz ready for the people, the early birds, maybe some of the late birds, depending on where you are in the world. Don't worry, Adam Troke will play the "Where Are You Watching Us From" game soon enough. We have some standards.
Oh, I
we'd
can
like
see
to
some
give
people
us
jumping the gun.
markers.
We're
I
watching
see
them
you
from-
pre-pressed the
From YouTube.
Well, I'll tell you what, while Raph continues to work his miracles, the unguents are coming out. We'll ask my favourite question, which is, this is a good time of day, 2 p.m. in the UK, but I don't know what time it is where you are. Where in the world are you
We've
tuning
already
in from
found
to
out
join
it's
us?
1 a.m. for Andrew.
My word, it has
Not
exploded.
late for the
Somebody says the
moderation.
old world. Somebody says the old world. Okinawa, Japan, Australia, Germany, Kentucky, Romania,
Gotta
Coventry,
make sure I sit
behind me.
still in the
I'll double check,
centre
but
of
I
the
think that
camera as
was
well when I'm doing this.
Newcastle, Delaware. Oh, very exciting. Gibraltar. That might be the first time I've seen Gibraltar in the chat.
How many
Actually, I
views
quite
have they got on
like
Twitch?
it.
They have
Space Hulk LV46.
12,969
somebody
viewers.
says Oven prices.
Ian.
I love you, Adam, with little crying faces. That is kinder than you need to be. Don't cry. It's all good. Wow. It's
because 40K isn't in the title.
Which is, it just makes my heart sing to see people tuning in from all around.
If
the
40K
world
was in the
enjoying
title, they would have
same
at least 40,000
that I
people.
do. So thank you for choosing to spend about an hour of your time with us as we go through what is going to be a pretty cool roundup of some skirmish things. Wade, what is a skirmish thing? We've called it summer skirmish. What does that mean?
What thing? Yeah, it's worth clarifying. If you've never seen a Warhammer preview online before, we're going to tell you about some things that are coming up. Some Warhammer things, some Warhammer adjacent and related
Still,
things.
12,000 people is
Sometimes
quite
they're
good.
dedicated to a particular game system.
You might get. I was
Sometimes
going up to
they're
13,000 now because a lot of people are starting to realise that it's. However, it's you know it's gone 2 o'clock. So
the game and deep diving into the box itself. The Skirmish games is a great opportunity to talk about some of the other game systems outside of Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Horus Heresy, what we would consider maybe the mass battle games that take the form of armies battling.
thank you
over
very much,
tabletops.
Toffee.
These are other expressions of the Warhammer hobby of collecting.
That's
building,
very nice of you.
painting,
Thank you for doing
playing
that.
games with
I always
Warhammer
forget to
miniatures,
like promote
with
myself
smaller
and places
numbers
and all
of
that kind of
models.
thing.
Usually a great way of getting into that Warhammer hobby of collecting and playing games with models set in the Warhammer worlds that don't necessarily require the
Vindictive text, I love that.
Scale. A great way of dipping your toe in the water of that particular hobby. So games involving
Yeah, they had
smaller
40,
numbers of
50k
models
on the
with
40k one. I think when they did the Horus
sometimes
Heresy
leads
stream,
to,
it was a bit higher than that as well.
that maybe lead to armies you might find Warcry.
I should say, I'm not going to.
Those sorts of games that has been
They're-
advertised as one of the games that will be.
They're
talked
just
about
sort
today.
of
And we will do
blustering at
that.
the
We
moment,
will
but I'm not
talk
going to
about
talk
Warcry.
over
That's a
them
fact,
too much,
which is
just
a
in
great
case you want to hear
snapshot
some of the
of
details and
skirmish
things that they go
gaming
through.
in the
But
Mortal Realms, which is the setting of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And some people might find that their Warcry warbands just grow into Warhammer Age of Sigmar armies. It happens that way sometimes. It does happen that way.
So I tend to operate the other way with these skirmish games, which is it's my way of keeping me from diving headlong into a different project. I just sort of sate that desire
They are pretty right
dabbling
about the way
with
that the
Warhammer Underworlds, all
skirmish
that,
games work for
main
Games
way,
Workshop.
actually.
I think they're a really good
Whereas,
way to start playing Games Workshop games without going for one of the big games.
Space Marines in a different colour won't hurt
I think
anybody.
specifically
Just a little bit. Just
Warhammer
just-
Underworlds,
It's
I
how
think,
I
is a
stopped
really
myself
good
going
entry point for a lot of
Celestial
people.
Lions. Was a Celestial Lions.
Even with all the card collecting and
Well,
stuff.
back in the
So-
day, hobbyists of a certain vintage, I think, older gentlemen such as ourselves, it used to be that the Warhammer hobby was largely you collect a 2,000 point army. When you've done that, collect another 2,000 point army. And sometimes there were specialist games that would come and go. And I think the skirmish games is a better brand for games like Necromunda. We'll talk about that today as well. Warcry, Kill Team. We'll talk about that today as well. Blood Bowl. We'll talk about that today as well.
I like how you're
I was really waiting for a way to
It's
say
like confirming what has already
Mordheim.
been communicated about what's been going down today.
Then everyone just go,
These
"What?
games are here to
Mordheim?"
stay, not seasonal games. Blood Bowl used to be definitely something that people would play.
Thank you
over the
very
summer.
much,
I
Duffy.
remember when the armies would be not on campaigning season, and Blood Bowl leagues would come, and then Blood Bowl leagues would go. But if you're the sort of hobbyist that just loves Blood Bowl, or you just love narrative Necromunda games, or you just love Warhammer Underworlds, we'll talk about Warhammer Underworlds today as well. That is a completely legitimate and
Yeah, I
viable
genuinely
hobby
thought he was going to say,
for
and
all
Mordheim,
enjoy
and then everyone's going to go,
Warhammer.
oh my god, they're going to bring back
Enjoy,
Mordheim,
and
but
that's
they're
what
not.
the gaming group
They're
most
not going to
enjoys.
tell that. They're not going to talk about that
You don't need to feel like that's
in this
a
stream,
lesser
would they?
part of the hobby than collecting armies and playing games with armies, which you can also still surely do, but we won't be talking about Warhammer 40,000 or Warhammer Age of Sigmar or the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness specifically today, only tangentially, as I've already mentioned them today.
I
So
wonder how
we'll
much
dive
stuff
ourselves
is actually
away.
going to
But
be
the focus of today's reveal, certainly the new things that we'll be showing
like
off,
seriously
that we're
interesting
excited about, will
new
pertain
stuff,
to
or how much is going to
skirmish games,
be
which you can use in some other game systems.
sort of like one or
but
two
don't
things
skirmish games.
from a couple of
Is
games.
that the snappy, pithy, quick answer that you were looking for?
I think it was like somebody wound you up and let you go, and I love it.
Yeah.
Right, so to summarise, we
I
are
think it's
here.
a really
We're
good
gonna
way
talk
to
about
do
skirmish
things,
games.
Andrew, yeah,
We've got videos, we've got
Collect
loads of
smaller
models to
forces
go.
and
It's going to be
that kind of
rad.
stuff.
Raph is going to give me the
He
thumbs
says with
up
the
that
2,000 point
tech-
Eldar
tech
armor
gods have
behind
been
him,
sated.
but,
The Omnissiah loves us. Apparently, we've got a mixed relationship with the Omnissiah right now. We're going to go live with our first video in about 2 or 3 minutes. But Wade, before we jump in,
Yep.
I like to find out what hobby people have been doing. Chat, let us know what hobby you have been doing. And Wade,
you
what
can
about
tell
you?
you,
Like
you
most
folks can
normal
tell me what
people,
kind of
I've
hobby
spent
you're
most of the
doing as
last
well.
36
That'd be a good
hours
idea.
Looking at pictures of Angron and shouting,
I've been
yes. That's
painting
mostly
some
been the focus. I had to tear myself
Mythos.
apart, as the veterans do here at HQ last night.
Probably can't
but,
see that very
on
well.
the other end of the scale,
There you
we're
go.
just talking about regarding
Working on
games,
some Mythos?
using World Eaters for the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness, because the World Eaters are the best.
Oh, they've made
Raph
way
says,
too.
Bring the microphone closer, as if we're getting ready to start doing the horse race commentary. Is this better, Raph? Do you want me to start doing it like this? Shall I start commentating like this? Yeah.
It's interesting to see the chat, how the chat is responding. There is an awful
I am
lot
drinking
of
50
Horus
Pip.
Heresy, quite a lot of,
I wonder why.
40,000 and old.
What have I said it was?
Age of Sigmar. There was
Vodka
a
and
swathe of Necromunda up near the front.
lemonade.
What you've got is
No.
essentially up to 15,000 people all giving you their latest bits of hobby. I, for the record, have been painting First Legion models for the.
But yeah, I've been working on some
Going
Mythos
splendidly.
for
2 tactical squads, 2 Contemptors, a Praetor,
Wayland's
which is my favourite
staff
model so
painting
far,
competition thing.
and
I'm not doing very well,
not
though.
to be confused with an English letter, which is an angry teacher in an
The
exam.
God Empress on the Golden Throne. Oh my days.
Known as angry.
That sounds
And
amazing.
I've nearly done a Praetor. That's like almost finished.
I am all about that.
Big question for anyone collecting.
I want to know
First
more.
Dark Angels for the Horus
This is
Heresy
the
for loyalists.
Well, you see, loyalty is its own reward.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Will
Galaxy.
Side with the lion.
Would you like to know
And,
more?
that's the answer. All the answer you need.
Brilliant.
Although actually, is that Starship Troopers? I can't
think
remember.
You do have to pick one if you're going to play.
I'm getting
Also,
confused
my aunt hanging around on
with
Caliban,
my-
like skulking naiads. And
stuff.
you see, I don't want to drop any spoilers,
My god
but
stuff.
the iffiness of the Dark Angels really comes into its own in the stage of the Siege of Terror that the novels are at now. If you know,
They
you
always
know.
stick so rigidly to
Cause-
their
Causewaying is
timetable
on
in
his
these
way,
things as well.
But maybe not everybody is fully on board. I love it.
Oh,
It's great.
awesome.
Um,
I need to see if I
Alpha-
can find a
so
little preview.
Sorry
That
Again
sounds
says,
that sounds
Adam, is
brilliant.
First Legion, the Dark Angels, or Alpha Legion? I believe the Emperor was quite clear when he put them in order. So Alpha Legion.
It was
Autonomous
Starship
for a
Troopers.
reason.
You are right. Yeah.
Right.
Would you like to know
Got the
more?
double cross.
Yeah.
You put that in the Legion number. 2 X's. The numeral for 20, but also beware of the double cross. You writ it in plain sight.
Okay, so here we are. It is roughly 10 minutes past 2.
Yep.
We are very, very glad that 16,000 of you have chosen to come and spend an hour with us as we get very excited about some Warhammer Skirmish things. Raph, why don't you play that first video?
Here we go. Space hockey? No. Age of Sigmar. Warcry. Realm of Gur. Or is this Warcry? Could be Warcry, could be Warhammer Underworlds. Turn it up a little bit. Plants from space. Ooh. Followers of a Shut, so you've got Chaos Dwarf stuff going on there. And Nurgle, I guess. This has got to be Warcry, right? Yes, there we go. So 2 new factions and the setting of Realm of Beasts as well.
War and glory in the heart of Gur. Wade, what is the heart of Gur?
The Heart of Gur is the new edition of Warcry, so skirmish combat in the realm of beasts. Anyone familiar with Warcry, which had been skirmish combat in the mortal realm, set up in
I
the
do
Shadow
like
of
the
Baronspire,
aesthetic
in the
of,
Bloodwind Spoil
of the Warcry
you notice that it
warbands.
is now moved setting to the Gnarlwood in Gur, the realm of beasts. So that introductory video gives you some clues as to the precise nature of the conflict and the participants and what is going down in Gur. Right at the very beginning, we saw the kind of
Pretty
cosmic
cool.
perspective of seeing Gur from space. You get to
It's
see
pretty cool, right?
It's very cool, and I think one of the legends that is spoken of Gur is that the landscape of the realm of beasts is predatory. Everything in Gur is hunter and or hunted.
It's like
Kill
being
or
on a
be
death
killed
world as a
is the
Catachan.
lore of the beasts in Gur, but even the moons of Gur have taken a bite from the realm itself. One of the moons, legends say, has been eaten. One of the moons has had a bite taken out of it, Null half eaten, and you could see a big chunk missing from one of those moons. But something has crashed. Something came crashing down into the Gnarlwood, which has been referenced and mentioned in Warhammer Age of Sigmar stories as a vast predatory jungle. It's on the ever-shifting borders of
Well, that's
Thondia
nice
and
terrain.
Gallant, which is where
I
a lot
like
of the
that.
attention during the era of the Beast has been set. So now we're going to see skirmish combat in a new environment. So Warcry Heart of Gur is a great new boxed set, taking the
Really new,
Warcry
unique
experience
sort of
into
set
this
of terrain that
particular
they've put together
Gurish
there, which is
jungle,
quite nice
and
to
that's
see.
what you can expect to find in the box.
Speaking of in the box, what you can see here is the contents of the Heart of Gur boxed game. Everything you need
Yes.
to play Warcry. So if you are brand new to it, then this is the perfect way in.
Okay.
Also, if you are an established Warcry player, then what you are faced with is some awesome new terrain. Which
I
is
love
sort of
the,
multi-level fighting with those fantastic walkways and the watchtower, and obviously all the models and other bits.
I
and
love
pieces
that
you
the
need
plants are
to,
growing out of the
increase your
bone
collection.
and stuff. I think that's a
Warcry's
really
pretty
cool look.
popular among the
to
sort of
this.
Warcom team and the
Taking over
Warhammer TV
everything.
presenters, isn't it?
Yep, Chris Peach is running a Warcry league in our office at the moment. He's drummed up some more support. His enthusiasm is as
Nice one,
infectious
Grandpa.
as whatever
Nice
is
one.
on the legs of these Rotmire Creed warband members. Oh, nice one, Raph. Excellent.
The
segue.
Rotmire Creed.
Look at the state of these. So this is one of the new warbands in the box. These are some of the natives to the Gnarlwood, the Rotmire Creed, worshippers of the Great Leech.
Yeah,
The Great
they are
Leech.
they are some messed up dudes. I think it's fair to say.
I really
As you
like
say,
the syringe
they
style
worship
weapon
the
that the
leech,
guy's got.
the
which is
Lord Leech is
very
called,
cool.
and their whole goal is they sort of are scouring for the perfect pestilence, right? And you can see that some of them have definitely found some
Worshippers of Nurgle.
pestilences, the sort of suppurating pustules
Via
and
a
legions
different
and
route,
things on their legs.
obviously.
I assume, but don't know. That's why some of them are
Worshipping
wearing
an
skills, right? They're just
aspect
keeping themselves a little bit out
of
the
Nurgle
mire.
rather than the
I
actual
think
god
so,
himself, I suppose.
'cause, we were talking this morning when I was moving some stuff around in my garden this morning. A centipede was dislodged, and that was just a centipede in Nottingham, which is a pretty grim, dark place. The centipedes in the Gurish Heartlands and the Gnarlwood itself were probably the size of my dog, and you wouldn't necessarily want to get bitten on the feet by them. But yeah, the absolute state of those going barefooted in and around the woods without any sort of raised up stilt protection.
I've got to give a shout out to a comment in the chat which has put a perspective on a thing I'd not seen. Somebody said, love the hands-free panpipes. And if you look at the guy on the screen right, you ever seen like a one-man band with a harmonica held in front? Yeah. He does look like he's ready to give it large with the panpipes. There's so much going on with these. They really are fantastic.
They would definitely make good Nurgle cultists, that's for sure.
With a Warcry
you could even do some kit bashing and use these for 40k as well.
But the things I
quite like their sort of Konani band. I thought it was quite nice.
To find this perfect pestilence and then turn.
I think some of their stuff might be a little bit
expanse into
OTT,
a fetid pestilential.
I think they've done a really good job of
sort of the trappings
nailing particular looks for a lot of their stuff. I think,
and whatever it is on the shoulders of the one on the right hand side.
I mean, they're definitely original and unique. So
sort of a feral and savage aspect to them. Loads of bones, and
if not classically chaos,
like procured but slightly gnarled and mouldy looking wood. These are some creepy looking dudes. The one in the middle, his feet are literally spilling out through his boots.
Oh yeah,
maggots out of the right boot, toes out of the left boot, and it's another expression of what we saw in the very original launch of Warcry. That kind of worshippers, human worshippers of chaos at the ground level in the mortal realms, but who don't necessarily know the chaos gods by the same names we, who are educated and own books, know them by. They don't
this is quite a good thing, because they did this in Warhammer Fantasy Battles. They had people who
they're just trying to get by,
worshipped the chaos gods,
just trying to get by,
but they didn't realise that they were worshipping Khorne, so they were kind of just warbands that worshipped Khorne but didn't really realise it.
This is just normal to them.
And yet we're seen by everybody else as chaos worshippers when they didn't think that.
Chat us, or are they Nurgle aligned? We would probably see some fairly Nurgle-esque qualities to them, but they don't necessarily know that name because they're worshipping.
Can we jump back to the previous slide just for a second, Raph? So the one in the centre is the Witherlord, which is the leader of the warband, and I think the thing that's key to point out there is that he may be sort of the one in charge. He's got this unique syringe weapon.
I like the leader's helmet.
Pots and vials and things, and he's even got like a weird drooling.
I think that's kind of cool.
Frog sat on his shoulder. The heavy, pardon the expression, if we go back to the second thing now, in the middle you have the bloated one, and he has a lot in common with the things you'd expect to see maybe from the Maggotkin.
Yep.
So the sort of bloated skin, and also I don't know the answer.
I'm with you, Grandpa. I think the terrain and
claws, almost crab.
I think the terrain looks amazing.
Bolted onto his arm.
I think a lot of people are going to be trying to pick up that terrain.
Some of the sort of the putrid Blight Kings or whatever. So I really like what they've done here.
I like that these folks all have like hoods and cloaks and things as well.
This Lord Leech, the similarities of that devotion are starting
because it makes painting them a little bit interesting.
Yeah, that fly-shaped pen.
But the price is probably going to be over £100, I'd imagine, Grandpa.
We'd associate with, like you say, the Maggotkin and the spikes, the nails through the horns and the sticks. We know we're intelligent people. We've read some books, we've seen some things, and we can draw those comparisons. But they're just existing in their little jungly vacuum.
But enough on Rotmire Creed. They do not come alone. We
the Horns of Hashut.
The Horns of Hashut are the other faction.
Chaos Dwarf.
Burn it all down.
Chaos Dwarf
Burn it all
related.
down. Sorry, I was probably wrecking with the mics again. Raph wouldn't have liked that. Burn it all down. So the Hashut, the Father of Darkness, can come along. Burn it down. So Hashut, some may be familiar with this name. This is a name from the world that was. This was a god worshipped by some chaotic Dwarden have worshipped this god, a god of forges and demonic artifice. We see humans. There's humans in this warband that worship this being, this demonic.
It is the issue, isn't it? Like the game seems pretty good, but it's trying to get people to play it.
We've seen the Great Horned Rat of the Skaven has definitely joined the Chaos.
I have heard a lot of people say that
space reserved for Hashut. That opens up kind of interesting questions about the nature of divinity and godhood in the mortal realms. If you're suitably powerful, if you're immortal enough,
I have heard very good things about Warcry, though.
People worship you. Maybe you too can become a god.
Names echoing through the aeons and then resurfacing. There's a few cool things to point out about these. First of all, Hook and Pin in the chat. Hello, asked a question, and that was, can you use previous warbands in this setting?
Oh,
absolutely yes. In fact, we encourage it almost to demand that you do. If you've got a warband you love, bring it in and fight in gear.
I just put a little sprinkling of Hashut on my pasta.
I guess, is that these are insane devotees of the concept of like forgecraft and flame. So you have the sort of the mainstay of the warband are the Shatterers, which carrying sort of the more basic weapons.
These are
you can see
so
on the picture
weapons
of
that
one
were
with a
forged
sort
by
of,
Duardin and then given to these people.
Pick hammer, a wedge hammer, maybe, and they're the ones who.
I agree, though.
Their
Warcry
life's
doesn't need more
devotion
orcs.
is to keep those forges burning, so they're constantly in the process of like chopping down trees to like fuel the forges, or mining in these horrendous.
That's true,
open
Grandpa.
cast
It's
mines
probably going to be
plots on the landscape.
astronomically
And
expensive for you, unfortunately.
They're hoping to progress to be sort of higher up within this Hashut cult.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome. And we were having a conversation. Where do you look when you're talking to the ones wearing the bull helmets?
My eyes are up here, above my actual eyes. Look up there.
I love that they've got almost like a Goa'uld style thing going on with the helmets.
The names of the individual warband.
Where you have
demolishers, shatterers,
the large portion of the helmet above being the thing that you focus on rather than the bit in the middle.
With them. But yeah, all of your existing warbands are very much.
Yes, he's
welcome
using that to
come
smoke
join
out the
party in
bees
the
from his
Underworlds.
honey
And the game
farm.
itself
Yeah.
is still very much
his
the Warcry game
apiary.
You'll know and love if you're already playing Warcry, but this box set is going to be a great jumping on point for anyone who's not already.
Oh man, I am in love with that terrain. I
I
love that the
Actually, one of
trees
the
are
things that,
trees, but they also
really
look like
sets,
twisted limbs.
Warcry aside as a fantastic sitting in game sort of mechanic is how open and free the movement is. Lots of jumping, climbing, and
I love those
and so the
buildings and
terrain
stuff.
Matches that. You've got loads of like raised walkways that like crudely made. You can have some fantastic jewels in high places. The thing on the left, we spent some. Oh, sorry, there you go, Raph. Thanks, man. That massive skull is a watchtower. You can see it's got like a little horn to sound a warning.
The thing that's quite nice about this as well, though.
I have no idea what beast it comes from. I spent a little while
As
trying
I've
to look.
just
I'm
said,
sure
this kind
at
of
some point I'll be able
speaks
find
to
out.
the kind of creatures that you'll find within the world of
it's pretty exciting to
of
see
Age of
that
Sigmar.
the miniatures
that
team
aren't just
once
they're
again
not in the
exposing
games,
look
which I think is
how
really cool.
Like
So-
limbs on the trees look as well.
Yeah, well, these
like
are-
you were saying, everything's hunter or hunted.
Absolutely. These are gnarl oaks, so you can see that they're kind of stepping through. They're not just roots growing through the skulls. Everything in Gur is predatory, and these trees are as much beast as they are tree. They bleed when you cut them. They come for you. They sometimes feign death so that people come close to them, and then those weird claw hand-like branches will snatch things up, plunge branches and roots deep into living bodies.
You could make
explore
most of this, I
right
think,
from
yourself,
for
probably.
sustenance. Quite gnarly altogether in the gnarl wood. And
Which
also
could be
see
kind of an
what
interesting
looks a little
task
bit
to have
like
a
some
pop
sort of
at, you know,
Seraphon
actually.
architecture, and that speaks to that cataclysmic, catastrophic explosion and crash landing that we saw in that video earlier on. Because it's not just the gnarl wood itself, the jungly setting. Because you might think, well, surely the Rotmire Creed live there, and that's fine. The Horns of Hashut want to burn it down. Why would anyone else want to go into this wood that wants to eat you?
You could
It's
get
not
some
just gnarl wood itself, there are
skulls
treasures,
from like
wonderful
a
treasures from a crashed Seraphon void ship, the Eye of
Oh.
Chortek, which has become known as Talaxis, named after an explorer.
a crashed
There's wonderful treasures to be found in there.
Seraphon
To fort over,
void ship.
but you have to survive not only the environment of the Gnarlwood, but also the attentions of all of the other treasure hunters and glory seekers who are journeying through the wood looking for these wonderful treasures.
So a few questions in the chat that I might be able to
They are
answer.
going
First
full
was,
sci
it's not
fantasy
a
with this.
gas sort of projector, the weapon that the Hashut worshipper was carrying. It is a flame hurler. Next, what's different about this setting in terms of the rules? Well, the rules have been updated. You can see these are the rules manuals that come in the box. Here you've got a Warband tome, and then the core book. They're updated. There'll be some changes. Mostly this is around enabling you to play in the new setting. So if you are an existing Warcry player, you are not relearning.
If you go down to the
wheel,
woods
that's an
today,
expression.
you will be torn
I'm
apart.
not sure it is. Yeah, this will be very familiar. Will the terrain be available separately? I really don't know. Maybe sometime.
Their terrain is
Obviously, the first
usually
place,
available
you'll be able to
separately.
get it is inside this
So-
box. So if it takes your fancy, then that is the way to strike. I'm aware that we have talked about these for a goodly 15 minutes, and we're not even done. But Raf's not waving at me. This is fine. Core. So this is an example of
You get
how
that dragon
awesome
skull,
Battlefield
and then you
can
start adding
Very
stuff to
cinematic,
it,
isn't it?
like
yeah,
paper
and I
mache
think
and
this,
all that kind of stuff.
Sort of shot
Boom.
sort of conveys that sort of
Yeah.
very close and frightening feel that you were talking about, where everything is dangerous. And I think those are the sorts of mechanics that we can see playing out.
That is
Yeah,
often,
the
unfortunately, the way
idea
we're
that
on, though.
you're
Yeah,
not quite
You
safe.
buy everything, just
Not
buy it all.
like, but I think anyone who's familiar with Warcry, anyone who's played Warcry games in the Bloodwind Spoil, or maybe made use of some of the White Dwarf content when we saw the fall of Anvilgard, when Marathi was trying to annex that and turn it into Harkiron. We've already seen Warcry developed and becoming the dedicated skirmish engine for games in the Mortal Realms, and this is a great expansion of that, furthering that.
I've
taking
always
the Warcry experience
come to the
into
come to the viewpoint now with Games Workshop stuff that
if you want
it will be available separately in a few months. So just wait. If you don't want to buy the big box set, just wait. And you can often get it for much cheaper, and then just buy it from an FLGS, a friendly gaming store.
Still looking at events taking place in the era of the Beast, in the aftermath of Kragnos waking up, smacking Excelsis around. There's all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's already terrain that looks like that on a lot of people's Patreons and My Mini Factories and stuff.
Exactly. So right. Yeah. Well, we've seen the Warcry reveal with this amazing looking new set.
Yep.
Now for something really different.
The next trailer. Is it just going to be one new vehicle? From the looks of it, yes.
Love that.
The House of Chains has reached the
well, that's an
outpost
orc vehicle
with the
if
new
I've ever seen
Goliath
one.
Mauler. And here it is. What a kit!
House of Games. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Goliaths is my house. I know you're a big fan of House Orlok.
Yep, all day.
You've had a lovely release with the Necromunda Ash Wastes box. You got to see some of how House Orlok goes patrolling those mean roads. Out
It
in
looks
the Ash
like
Wastes and helping the Guild of Coin
the
get their
vehicles
money.
that the
And
brutes
now we're starting
use
to
in
see
Halo.
how some of the other houses might have their
If anyone's ever
representatives
played Halo.
out there. I think in the Ash Wastes supplement and the Book of the Outlands, we've seen that outside
Cool
of the
concept.
hives, all of those major houses still like,
Basically
maintain
an
a
orc
presence.
vehicle, though.
There's anywhere there's an opportunity to flex essentially and assert the values and the power of your house, the prestige of your house. The house masters will look for that, and this is definitely House Goliath expressing themselves in their particular style. So this is a dedicated,
Could be good fun to
unique
paint.
vehicle for House Goliath. Everything about it is pretty Goliathy, really. And I've seen plenty of people in the chat going, "Oh, look, it's an orc vehicle with a Yumi sat on top of it," and I'm sure that's going to come into it as well.
Yeah,
was what
I
I
think
was
everyone
thinking,
was
was the
of
chat
the.
really like,
Everyone
I'm
knew that
having
we were going to
that
be
for
seeing
my
that, I suppose. So.
insert thing.
American Chop and
Chaos
Necromunda edition. I love that. Yeah.
Chaplain, whatever the.
Flesh Terror's Chaplain bike.
I guess we're going to
I
see
think
vehicles
that's
for each of the
part
factions
of
slowly
the
come out one at a
excitement
time, I
around the
suppose. Then.
Ash Wastes release ever since we saw the first releases for the Ash Wastes box, and then definitely the Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler, that enormous truck and trailer combo that came out more recently. But the rules in the Book of the Outlands that were just letting people have free reign with the various Genestealer Cults vehicles.
So
that
I've
have
got a
been available
Goliath
in
in
40K.
my Orlok warband.
I can definitely
Orange
see
County
a Goliath
choppers, yeah.
Warcry sort of device with that huge rock grinder at the front.
Could you imagine
that
one of
still does
those
blade.
driving along with these acting as
Yes.
outriders for
I
it? It would look so
absolutely can.
good.
And maybe with some sort of orc war bikes tinkered up a little bit with the Goliath bits, because I think the release of the plastic bits into the ecosystem, Peachy and I, as kit bashers, talk about this an awful lot in some of our live shows. The fact
It's
that there's
got
going to be
bolters
more
lined
Goliath
up on the
bits
side of it as
the
well.
back of
So
this
it's got
kit.
bolters
There's
and it's
plastic
got the
Goliath
big
gang,
huge hooks
there's
at the front.
Stimmers and Forgeborn kit that's got more Goliath stuff out there for you to mix up. This kit comes with more heads, more hairdos. So I think Raf's got an alternative
Oh, here we go.
for us as well. More chain hairdos as well.
Oh,
So,
okay.
big
So there's a
fat
big wheel you can
wheel
put
at
in the middle
front
as well. That's
and big
cool.
Tracked unit at the back.
I think I'm a wheel fan, as opposed
Is that
to
why you drop that
whatever
wheelie?
the-
I prefer the
yeah,
grinding thing at the front. I don't like the
The
wheel.
previous one, the major difference beyond the hair styling of the rider.
It turns
is
by bashing
the
into
previous one
things.
had that sort of spiked
Right.
spindle.
It
thing
just bashes
for a
into it and
wheel.
then goes off in a different
And it had
direction.
bolters, whereas this one had grenade launchers.
That's always been the
Um,
issue with how do
perhaps
Space
you
Marine
need
bikes
to turn
turn.
to pieces. And yeah, I think just
It
it's everything
basically is
that
a snowmobile to
a
me.
growing Goliath could
A
possibly want.
sandmobile.
I mean, what else is there to say? Super dope. It's going to be as pugnacious and dangerous as you could possibly expect it to be.
Get out of the way! I need to get to
So,
the docks.
More information on exactly what it does in the game and all those things will be forthcoming as we get closer to its release.
Okay.
Suffice it to say,
I'm kind of liking those. I thought that we'd see a little bit more for.
but it makes up for it in just.
I thought we'd see a little bit more when it came to the vehicles rather than just one,
Some
but
very, very powerful weapons.
Yeah, it's not a muscle
Decent
car,
enough kit,
per
I
se,
suppose.
but it's definitely got an amount of
For
muscle
kit
to it.
bashers, as they say.
And it's a great expression of, as we're saying, what each of the houses would look to have out on the roads to assert itself and assert its dominance and represent itself. And it will start, I am sure, to have people imagining what their particular chosen house might have out in the Ash Wastes. I think it's a great statement for collectors of all of the different Necromunda great houses to think, what might my house have out there? What would be the perfect Delac, Escher, Cawdor, junk wagon of some persuasion? Just like
I can't wait to see what Van Saar get.
Yeah, just like
I want them to get something hovering.
Themselves. But I think a great statement for Necromunda hobbyists, going back to that statement at the beginning of the show, that if you've got time in your life for Necromunda and you just want to throw yourself entirely into Necromunda, there's going to be more great stuff for each of these skirmish games coming up in the future.
Can I just give a shout out to the chat for some truly amazing commentary throughout this? First of all, whoever said an Inquisitor would be fantastic on this, one, I agree, but also two, definitely not one of those subtle investigating Inquisitors. You need to be like a frothing monodominant with your hair on fire.
I think so far
somebody said not my wheelhouse, which
I've really
whilst,
liked the
your taste in bikes may be questionable, your taste in puns is amazing.
I quite like the terrain from the first set. I thought that was really cool, and I like the fact that we're potentially getting Chaos Duard in Chaos Dwarves. And I really like this, but I like it as a orc vehicle.
More stable than the rest of the world right now.
Yes, and we were talking when we were taking a look at this stuff before.
As we've been saying, Tim, put an orc on it. It's good.
The environmental damage they might do to the real world in Necromunda.
I think you're right on the money, Andrew. I think we're going to see the two big boxes and then little stuff for everything
the
else.
environment has anything to worry about from the effect of either the tracks.
Games Workshop will piecemeal you all the way. Unfortunately, wrong.
The big fat wheel at the front.
And the reason that the biggest boss 2008, why we are so slow at revealing stuff, is because we really enjoy looking at cool new things and talking about it.
Pretty much.
And we're going to be continuing to do so for the next 28 minutes or so. Speaking of which,
already halfway through.
Yes.
Okay. Blood Bowl? Oh no. Nether Maze. Okay. Oh man. Oh no. It's a Witch Hunter. I like Witch Hunters. Oh my god, it's a Witch Hunter warband. Oh my god, it's a Mordheim Witch Hunter warband. Oh god, I'm sold. God, I like Witch Hunters. Oh. I might buy them and just put them on square bases.
Hunters, the newest band to enter the Underworlds.
It even comes with warhounds.
So this is a group of witch hunters of the Order of Azir. So Sigmar's obviously been sending lots of groups of Stormcast Eternals into the various Underworlds to keep an eye on everything that's been kicking off in Shadespire and then into the Beastgrave. There's also been groups of the
I really like those
male
models.
fist of Sigmar's intent, but the Hexbane's Hunters, the Order of Azir Witch Hunters, something that we've seen some expressions of, the idea of.
I don't think this is going to be a full.
Galen and Dorelia Vendence.
Although they have said Nether Maze, haven't they? So yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and they harken back to some classic Warhammer World That Was archetypes, which is appropriate.
Hark back, they're
Sigmar was from.
bloody
Sigmar
on point.
Some of those memories around, but those classic big hat witch hunter archetypes.
I love the dude with the
I think even
grenade-based crossbow.
The old Mordheim
I think this set looks amazing. Just put them on square bases
like pit dogs
and use them in Mordheim.
Witches or vampires or any sorts of underworld nasties.
Yes, they would be good for
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
Your hands with. Send a scarred up.
All of those would be good for Inquisitor.
To sort it out. While
stick cyber bits on the dogs, add some bits and bobs to the different characters to make it a little bit more sort of sci-fi 40k.
Mix of different
away you go, like a
this
generator on the big boy's back.
Fragile. They don't have the durability. They don't have the Sigmarite blessed armor to stand up to the responses, but a nice variety.
I like
of
that.
Troop types.
Not playing the game, but I like those models.
With a nice burning torch to represent Sigmar's light illuminating the dark places, which they definitely are in the Nether Maze beneath Harad.
Wow.
I think, one of the things that to me really appeals here is these feel like the closest thing to normal. That I mean, as normal as
I really like the guy in the top right with the like
hunters of the Order of Azir,
Man in the Iron Mask. Haha. That's great.
Vampires,
nice Frostgrave as well. Yeah, you could use these as hunters and stuff.
Nothing normal about it, but yet these are mortalish. Is that fair?
And I love the lady in the bottom left.
Their special weapon appears to be two very, very angry mastiff.
Love the repeating pistol.
I love them. I think
that's so cool.
The chat has already picked up the.
Oh yeah, just use the
possibility
Necromunda dogs
for
and then
sort of,
put a few
conversion
bits on.
across, first of all, if you're doing City
Hello,
of Sigmar
Patrick.
type
Nice to see you,
stuff,
man.
that'd be fantastic. If you need some friends to hang out with.
Thank you for the
as soon
word
as
on the content and stuff.
The War Scrolls for using these in Age of Sigmar come out. Well, that's going to be fantastic.
While I'm sure this
But
will be
also,
very, very good for one Warhammer
if
Underworlds
you
players,
wanna,
everyone is
have
going
a
to pick these up
position
and
Warhammer,
convert the hell out of them.
the possibilities are endless.
Yep.
Let's not forget, however, you could also use them in Warhammer Underworlds,
Wow.
where, as you've rightly described, they are a fairly fragile aggro warband, which, if you are a Warhammer Underworlds aficionado, will mean more to you than me, who is just I would describe myself as a novice level person. I quite like just trying to use the biggest sword to hit the other person.
I think that's I don't think she's small, is she? I thought that was just a lady.
What I can do, though, is... Oh, Raph moves the picture.
Sorry,
so we can
I
look
think
at
that is a
This
lady. She's not just small.
Hexbane, who is the leader
Maybe it could be a kid.
of the warband.
I don't know.
And the first thing you will notice is that he is perfectly willing to sacrifice the other human members of his warband. He has the ability Price of Victory, which is a reaction. Every time a hunter is dealt damage, then he can have one upgrade from your hand. So basically, kill his friends, like human friends, and then he gets better. But he obviously doesn't send his dogs into situations he doesn't want to come back from, because he doesn't get that bonus from dogs. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
That would be
pretty cool.
Right?
Not to be encouraged.
Very good. And actually, all of the members of the warband...
I always find that the Warhammer
look
Underworlds
really,
warbands
really
are
fun.
actually reasonably priced as well, which is often good.
And
So
they all have great names.
They do.
So we could, for example, talk about Amos Duncarrow, who is the brawler, the fellow with the absolutely massive axe in the top left.
see, I think that's a lady
and
on the
he's
far
got like
left. I don't think that's
his
a
ability
kid.
is around,
Although it could
basically
be a
being
young
around him is reassuring,
androgynous
because
kid, I
he's such a
suppose.
brute.
I think it's a
He's
lady.
such
Yeah.
hog.
Which is cool.
There's
I
a
like
lot
that.
to hide
Very cool.
behind.
Yeah,
Very
quite.
nice.
And he's got some armour, so
Yep.
it feels slightly safer.
Haskell
Bridget
Hexbane.
Axwold, which is a fantastic name. She's got
Haskell
hair to
Hexbane
just die
is
for,
the-
absolutely incredible. And
I
as you
know.
might expect,
Yeah. Oh dear. I should
she
probably
can,
not do that.
do a special action with her
Haskell
pistol.
Haskell Hexbane
unleashes
does
a volley.
sound
But-
like
we shouldn't mention,
a
Quiet
D&D
Pop, who's the
character
crossbow,
from when someone was
A lot
12.
of appreciation for the crossbow bomb I see in the chat.
Because it's not just a normal crossbow, is it? That wouldn't do. That crossbow is hilariously funny. Crossbow launcher.
A crossbow with just a
that,
grenade
does
attached
2
to the end
damage
of it is
every time it hits,
amazing.
which is great. You've got to be a fan. But the real fan of the show, the chat says it, we've said it, are Ratspike on the left and Grotbiter on the right.
Grotbiter and
The
Ratspike.
two companion dogs. They're actually Quiet Pox dogs. He's brought them with him.
Yep.
And you can just imagine everybody in the warband loves them more than everything else in the whole warband, including each other.
I reckon I know how Grotbiter got its name.
I reckon you
Grot's
could
out
pick
there
up
as well, but
those.
yeah,
And
You
you
pick up
actually
the
got all
Vendents,
biting.
and you get the Witch Hunter from Curse City.
Absolutely, it's a classic.
And you've got a
reference.
really
We
cool
would take a
start
look
to like
at
a
the sprues as well, obviously.
Sigmar
Warhammer
Witch
miniatures,
Hunter
beautifully
army
detailed miniatures, lovely, easy
with
to
for the
assemble
free
miniatures
cities as well if you really
There's,
wanted to.
ripples of
which is really
water
cool.
on the base, so like proper gum.
Wade bought a box down from upstairs when he came with him,
Secrets.
and I've been fiddling with them.
They're fun. They're very nice.
The bases are mega. Like, why do all the Underworlds bases look so cool?
I've picked up
I don't know.
several Underworlds warbands simply for the scenic bases for conversions and use in other kits altogether. But sometimes people have asked in our hobby clinic shows, how do you paint models to look like it's raining? Which is a particularly deep way to think about painting models. But now there are going to be some bases with ripples and puddles of water on them. But it shows the nature of the nether maze, I guess, like deep beneath the Umbral Sea. There's some horrible, wet, dank places that these adventuring questers are going to go on behalf
So
of.
Harrow
Sigmar's
Deep
Order,
was
Sigmar's
before
Order
this,
is here.
and then
Don't
is
shy away from any
Was
sort of
Nethermaze
places
another
where
set
soul-like
that came
vampires
out
might be
that I
sleeping,
missed?
Places,
Someone can
deep
fill me
beneath
in if they play
Harrow,
Warhammer
Nether
Underworlds.
Maze, where it's dripping with all sorts of weird, fell, grim water. But yeah, lovely way to
Hello there,
approach
Demon
some of
Sub.
those
Nice to
designs
see you, man.
and the aesthetic.
Apparently
Darren.
I've been warned these miniatures actually belong to Lizzie, who was doing painting guides for them.
Painting videos
so,
to follow.
One, watch out for some quality painting guides from Lizzie, and two, I may not.
So they're
follow.
filming the painting
How deep
videos, and they've got a
details
box
are.
of the models, which probably means they're not far off from actually getting released. So
Right. so far, what have we had? We've had the Warcry reveal showing the Heart of Gur.
Yep.
We've had Goliath Mauler, which was really cool.
Big fan.
We've seen the new
Hexbane's Hunters.
Hexbane's Hunters.
hope you're having a good
maybe time for a bit
afternoon,
of
by the
Blood
way,
Bowl.
Darren. Skaven versus... Oh, yes, of course it was. Thank you, Michael. Yes. So it's not a new set, but it's just a new warband. That's cool. Amazons? Amazons! Are they still going to be called Amazons? The Python Warriors. I love all the frogs. I'm really liking those. I thought this was going to be lizardmen, but of course they're really very cool. Very cool. We've got Amazons. Nice.
I was just trying to remember the name of the kit that I thought the heads would be really good. And then we came back to you. Hello, that was exciting. A new team for Blood Bowl, the Kara Temple Harpies, Amazons tanking to the gridiron.
Yes. Thank you very much, Michael and Tuffy, for reminding me of that.
One of the most recent Blood Bowl teams coming out. People have been checking off.
I completely forgot because I was still stuck with the one before it, with the Stormcast in it.
Second season edition. So
I like those.
It's sort of the Corn team.
All I can think of is Snoo from Future Armor.
Recently, got to see a classic Blood Bowl team committed to plastic form.
I love that they've got
little tweak.
pythons and snakes on their arms for lunging at people.
They all had dodge. They all had armor 7. That was the trade-off. And the nature of the team that works on Blood Bowl these days, they don't just take
the heat is fairly unbearable
and re-release them.
I've closed all the windows for this as well, so it's very hot in here.
And we see that, I think, certainly in the naming convention.
Oh man, those are cool.
They aren't just throwers, etc. This is a Python warrior, and she's even brought the snake.
Does the snake throw the ball?
The thrower, and with the current Blood Bowl, being able to throw does not necessarily mean you're able to do all the other agile things. Although the Amazons are renowned for their agility, so here is the one place that will play out. The Amazons have always been a good sort of high-speed, sort of aerial playing.
Death by Snow.
The Elven teams that we're used to seeing. So the Python Warrior is your thrower, the quarterback of the team, as it were. The Piranha Warrior.
Wow, she's actually really cool. I love the idea that she's about to just literally just slam someone to the ground and kick their ass. That was really cool.
And then we have the Jaguar Warrior, which is the blockers.
Okay.
And
okay.
Armor,
you know,
she's also got excellent hair.
Yes, not bad. Better than mine.
Cool idea. Cool idea for spicing up the Amazons.
And then the Eagle Warriors, which are the line woman of the team, as it were.
Yep.
The thing that really stands out to me about this team more than anything is just how awesome, like, the sculpts on the faces are. Whoever has done these has done an incredible job. So shout out to whoever it is.
I'd say it probably stops people from attacking you if you've got a massive snake around your neck as well, probably.
We shout you, yeah, they're absolutely.
Shadespire, Nightvault, Beastgrave, Darkchasm, Paradeep, Leather Mason. Boom! Well done, Tuffy.
He's a big Blood
That's
Bowl
some
fan. He's got
some
an
good learnings.
Amazon team he's converted a few years ago who've got excellent pun Blood Bowl names. He really leans in to the Blood Bowl convention. So his captain, I think, was called Jawanta Good Kickin'. Raph reminded me one of the players was called Roxana Hardplace. There's all sorts of excellent names that I can't remember right now, but I expect he'll get his.
That armor's going to be interesting to paint. I like the fact that it'll be very colourful and different. I think that's really nice.
These newer versions. I'm looking forward to seeing other players or other coaches.
I think that'll be really fun to paint with contrast, especially if you do a little bit of blending on the armour and stuff. I think that'll be really cool.
Second season edition, because not a lot of people necessarily had a chance to experience them or what they're capable of. But I think, as the quote in the video said, they've got.
I hope the details aren't too soft around where the snake joins onto the bodies and stuff. It looked a little bit weird there, but they have black lined it and stuff.
Judgmental of the elven kind, they can definitely get some of the elven experience. They are slippy. Like historically, I haven't seen the rules for this newer version of the team, but historically, an entire team with.
I love the way of painting feathers using like the wet blending as well.
They are very difficult to knock down on the ground.
So speaking as I mean,
I'm not going to play the game, but I like the models.
Player of a team that exclusively has dodge. Yeah. It is very, very useful. Of course, mine are only like move 5 little guys because I play halflings, and you're going to get beaten up eventually. It's just whether you get to dodge first.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The Amazons offer the other end of that spectrum because they've got the movement to back it up. They're going to be able to do throwing plays, and they have got some hitting potential. In the blitzers, in the
armor in the loosest
and some
sense.
durability with the Jaguar Warriors. So, yes, I think there's a as you can expect.
That's a pretty cool piece of artwork.
They'll be backed up with all of the rules updates and things that you'd expect. And here you've got one crushing the pumpkin head of one of the poor old.
Was that little tiny frog on some of the armor for the Amazons? I didn't see that, but
help me out.
What I really liked as well, I saw someone in the chat demanding Slan, crying out for Slan, and the naming convention, the Python Warriors, the Piranhas, the Eagle, the Jaguar Warriors, reminded me of showing my age, the 3rd edition Warhammer Slan Army
Let me drop
list.
you for 2 seconds. Necromantic Horror Team, thank you, chat, for saving me.
I really
I
like
was
that
struggling.
He's
they've
going to have an episode.
So you were talking about
stuck with
Slan.
the just funny
I was,
elements of
just,
Blood
for,
Bowl
you
and
know,
really push
Rottingers
that
like
with the new
ourselves. But
sets
that,
and stuff.
kind of relationship between.
I always
the
really
Hamilton
like. I
Kingdom
always thought
and
Blood
the
Bowl was
inheritors
like the
of
second best
some of
rule set they ever
Slan
made underneath
who'd
Middle Earth. So
descendants of the old ones who'd come before, and they used to have eagle warriors. And
it's
warriors
nice that the
and
game
units
is
named after
continuing
different
to follow
totem
that
animals. It seems like the Amazons
sort of
have gone
funny
down
tongue-in-cheek
that
feel
path
to it
as
all.
well. So a nice little nod to some of the older classic Warhammer IPs.
Very cool.
So an excellent new Blood Bowl team coming for Blood Bowl coaches around the world soon enough. Looking forward to smashing them.
I'm sorely tempted. I've got to be honest. It's
I
been a while
think
since
we're
I've
going to
been
see their big reveal now
sorely tempted.
for the kill
Also,
team stuff.
I'd imagine they're
So
not horrible, and I quite like being sort of the pseudo good guys in Blood Bowl, hence the halflings. So, right, we're running ahead of schedule, but Raph hasn't told me to stop. So, in that case, why don't we turn the lights down and go into the dark?
Space Hulk ish. Inquisitorial Warband versus Skaven. I mean, not Skaven, versus Tyranids. Oh my days. No way. Lloyd is going to be so happy. Kroot versus Guard. No way. They're actually doing a Kroot kill team.
Kroot?
Kroot.
Kroot?
Kroot?
Kroot.
Kroot.
Kroot? That's probably enough.
Look at him there.
Well, everyone is going to sack off those inquisitorial fellows.
We're betting on the chat going absolutely wild at a particular point in that video, and there we have it. So, Warhammer 40,000 kill team into the dark. You were all wrong. It is the Imperial Navy Voidsmen versus
Imperial
the Kroot
Navy
Parstalkers
Voidsmen
in space.
versus Kroot.
How much better than anything is that? Lots better. Let's go. Tell me all about it, Wade.
In a space Hulk. Everything's in space, but not everything's in a space Hulk. So there've been a few
I am Kroot.
notions thrown around the internetosphere over the last week or so, especially as we were building up to this Summer Skirmish Preview with some kind of
I was so ready
space
for this
Hulk
to be
adjacent
inquisitorial
imagery and
versus
iconography.
Tyranids, but
people confidently saying they knew it was a return to the classic space Hulk, or maybe it was definitely, probably, possibly Acadian Kazakin fighting against something. No, an Imperial Navy breaching team. Sometimes a space Hulk drops out of the warp, and we'll talk about space Hulks in a moment, and the Imperial Navy,
hello,
being
Sailor.
the people who are mostly in space floating around in giant Imperial battleships, they might put out a request to the Blood Angels to say, do you have one of those Terminator squads that, you know, formed some wonderfully iconic images
quite
of our
like the look of this
childhoods
breacher
boarding
team.
space Hulks to clear out gene stealers? And Dante says, we've got a few Tyranid-related problems of our own right now. Can you deal with it yourselves? And the Navy says, actually, yes, we can. We've got breaching teams to go onto space Hulks and clear out any
She's
of
got
the
like
nasty things.
the leader's got like a saber
Exactly,
as well,
just
which
to
is really
breach
cool, like a
that
power
Hulk.
saber,
And here we
probably.
can see a few of those representatives. So the iconography on the chest plate you can see is the symbol of the Imperial Navy. We saw the Voidsmen at
So it's the
arms, who
Imperial
have a
Navy
similar
symbol,
sort of
not the
take on this.
inquisitorial one. Okay.
Space Marines with the small
I love that we've
S
got
and
Kroot.
M.
Get to the Kroot.
Marines in space, but not the Adeptus Astartes. Warriors of the Navy that would go and fight on spaceships that were humans, not augmented, not super soldiers, not genetically augmented killing machines. Just
I like the mag
straightforward
boots. I'm going to say
humans
they're
that might
mag
go and
boots that they've
clear
got as well.
horrifying nightmare ships from hell of the most terrifying things that could possibly exist in the galaxy of the far future, and these are they. So
I'm going
this
to
is
cover off some questions that were really burst into the chat. The first one, I spent quite a long time, I'm a little bit weapon obsessed, trying to work out if that was a triple barreled shotgun. I see you, Igna, and I agree it was my first question. I think the bottom thing is either the protuberance that is the end of a magazine, you know how shotgun often
It
they
could.
have like a long stack magazine, or it's a torch, or it's a laser, because that is a double barreled shotgun.
A double barrel
on the
shotgun with
Quick As
something
Read
Yeah, and similar. The one
underslung.
on the left, you can see there is.
And then the other
shell
guy's
being
ejecting the
ejected
shell
single
from the
ejection
shotgun.
port.
Oh man, shotguns are so cool, and they're so
Protuberance
bad in
underneath its
40k.
barrel. And the one on the right has 2 ejection ports, 2 barrels, and a similar protuberance. Let's say protuberance a bit more. Protuberance.
Join us for Adam and Wade get nerdy about guns. But that was a top observation, and I love it. Also, look how the slide on the shotgun slots into the sort of crenellation on that shield, so that you
Oh
can
my
rack your
god,
shotgun.
he
whilst
racks the
you're holding
shotgun
shield.
in the
Whoever
shield.
designed these deserves a mighty high five in the
That is
corridors, the hallowed halls of the
absurdly
Industrial Headquarters.
cool.
The other thing is, yes, they would be awesome for Crusaders, Inquisition warbands, to go alongside your Rogue Trader. They would look pretty dope in Necromunda if you convert them to be Venators, or goodness knows what else.
Yep.
These are exciting. Whew.
But potentially
A
more
Kroot
exciting.
fast
My heart
stalkers.
bursts
Fast stalker
with, like,
Kinban.
unmitigated joy
Oh
at the arrival
my
of my favourite
God.
aliens in all of Warhammer 40,000. More Kroot, more often. The Kroot Fast Stalker Kinband. Oh, Wade, tell us something about these.
So we saw the Kroot reveal
Amazing.
released alongside the first plastic tower.
Oh,
I
it might
think
be a flash. Of
some
course
of
it's a
the
flashlight.
Design archaeology of the tower and the Kroot suggested that they were first worked up in concert with each other, and the decision was yet to be taken as to which of those races would be like the dominant one. And the tower kind of came ahead, and we've seen more tower kits revealed, and the Kroot haven't really had a major release ever since the first Kroot Carnivore squad of the
I
first
love
tower
those
back in
models.
2001, and then we saw Dayak Grek coming along as an adventurer in Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress.
Who was,
Fan
until today,
favourite.
the best Kroot I'd ever seen.
Fan favourite. So here we see the Fast Stalker Kinband. We know that the Kroot are.
I like the guy with the
mercenaries, they're
pulse rifle.
spacefaring
I think
critters.
he's
You can
pretty
see that
cool. I
shape
think they've
character in
done
the
something
middle
nice with
a
him there with
Tau
the
pulse rifle
cloak.
that does not look like he's necessarily been.
It is a little bit weird
looking
that the
after
other
it particularly
two
well.
are
It's a bit
kind of just
scratched up.
standing around there. You are right, I guess.
Like he's holding it above the tower.
Like I like them. I think they're really nicely
Yeah,
well
come up and reach
detailed.
it.
Maybe
I
they
thought,
should be a little bit
I love
more.
his pestle, like mortar and pestle
combat-y.
combination, like the skull and little bone that he's got tucked into
I
his
also
belt.
want to know who he gets to push the rock round for him inside the confines of the Space Hulk. The Space Hulk that they're fighting in, by the way, has a name. It's called the Gallowdar.
The Gallowdar.
Which is a neat name for a Space Hulk. Space
very
Hulks never
cool.
have like Sunshine 2000.
Tactical rock
No,
on a Space
like
Hulk.
the
They
Synth
do.
Foundation, I
Exactly.
think was the one from the Space Hulk games. So Space Hulks are. It's a great opportunity for us to take a look inside Space Hulks, because this is going to be a bit like Warcry is going to be looking at the Gnarlwood, and releases for Warcry to follow will also be set in the Gnarlwood. to
I'm
build
really
up
happy
the
that they've
sense
got
of what's
Kroot.
going on in there. Subsequent releases for
It's
the
very cool
upcoming
that they've got
season
new
of Kill
models.
Team will be taking place.
I really like the
in
leader with the
Gallowdar,
pulse
as people
rifle.
try to explore.
The others
what's
are a
going on. So
little
they tend
bit,
to be vomited out of warp storms or trapped in the warp, and the
less
combination-
animated than I would have
combination of
wanted
lots
them
of
to
different
be.
bits
You
of
are right.
essentially
Yeah.
space flotsam and jetsam. Imagine a shipwreck, but made up of.
I still find it weird that we
thousands
didn't
of years
see.
worth of human and alien
Ships and rocks
mashed
and
We didn't
together
see
around the warp,
squats.
and
I'm
asteroids and all sorts of
going to
things.
put a hold on one of the things. Somebody saying, "Oh, but only 7 models." Obviously, not only 7 models. We're, like Kill Team typically has 2 full-size warbands, or kill teams is probably
Indeed.
the correct word. There will be 2 full-size kill
Train
teams.
is
and I'm sure
nice.
you might get a glimpse of a little bit more.
Stick
of
this
some
onto
the
some of your other
technical
bits and
surroundings
pieces, and if you wanted to play bigger games,
there is a lot
you got to have
more-
skulls. You can't have skulls in. You can't not have
And
skulls
some
in
Kroot hounds
40k.
as well.
I know, and we have a genuine best dog of the day competition.
Skulls
So if you're
and
interested in chat, if you have firm
Roman
opinions on
numerals
whether
is
it
the way forward for this terrain.
the dogs that belong to Hexbane's Hunters or the dogs that belong to the Far Stalkers, I would like to know.
Grotbiter or Ratspike or Kroot Hounds. And we also saw, as part of the reveal and the build-up to the setting the expectation, the bait and switch with the Space Hulk reveals. We saw the cat unit, the
course.
cyber-assisted.
Which
task
so
unit.
you could compare cat to hound.
They've got cat and a dog, cat and dog. But yeah, I think and just seeing that
Terrible
variety,
joke.
the different skin tones that you can see, the different green skin tones, the different bionic bits that these Kroot have got. They look like hard-bitten. They look like a hard-bitten crew. They don't necessarily look like a unit that's been.
I think it would have been kind of
of
cool if they'd shown some of the Kroot with like different mutations. Because one of the big things about the Kroot is whatever they eat, they take on some of their genetic makeup. So maybe like a big, bulkier one. Although maybe that's going to be in the rest of the kit. I don't know.
You'll find
But
out more about the different constituent members of each of these kill teams: the Kroot, Farstalker, Kinband, and the Navy Breaching Team.
Exactly, and there's specialist roles for each team, and
Not
models
quite what everybody
that
thought was going to
coincide
turn
with
up,
those
but
that
an
are in the
interesting
set.
selection.
I mean,
so.
I'm probably not allowed to talk about, for example, the Kroot Pistolier.
No, it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be a new
round the inside
box
of Space Hulk with
set.
essentially Kroot type.
So it'll be a
shooters,
box set
but
with the
we will
title
not
that they
mention
mentioned
that
earlier
for
that
now.
I've forgotten.
Although if I'd seen it,
And it'll
I'd
come
be
with the
about
two
listing I'd seen. all day.
2
So,
kill teams and all the terrain for
next
playing
slide
inside,
before I reveal
probably.
more things. Oh, so can I possibly use my kill team in space if I've already got a kill team and it's not one of these kill teams? The answer is yes. Not only do we expect
And they'll come with
we
new
encourage
rules
it.
for
Imagine
playing
if you
inside
could,
Space
how cool
Hawks
it
and
would be to have
interiors
Death
rather
Corps
than just
Green
outside.
fighting Tau Fire Warriors.
That'd be pretty cool.
Within
In a
the
space
Galadark.
Hulk. That would be fantastic. So this is not a new rules set. This is a great opportunity for anyone who's not yet started playing Kill Team to get on board. There's going to be complete
I gotta say, I
rules,
really
complete, rule set for
hats
playing
off
Kill
to the
Team
people
as well as
doing the
rules for
promotional
fighting
photography,
in
because
the
that's a
close
very, very
confines,
cool
such as you'd
image.
find inside a Space Hulk, as well as
Rather than
the
stuff
Kill
just
Team
being on like a
rules
white
for
box or
the
something,
Naval
so.
Breaching Team and the Farstalker Kinband, but it's not just an expansion for the existing game. So it's a great way to get on board and have everything that you need to start playing Kill Team in
Right,
one set.
yeah, okay.
It does not invalidate any of the existing Kill Teams. It's not a new edition of the rules. It's just an update and taking it into a new environment.
An updated environment, then. There we go.
particular setting.
So,
Well
yeah,
done.
some new
Somebody
rules
in the
if you want
chat's
to
gone,
play
"Wait,
inside
is that
interiors."
plastic floor? Well, I'm sure there will be more to talk about with regards to
Plastic
exactly
flooring,
where
ceiling,
they're
walls.
fighting very soon. How?
Are they taking a note out of
Exciting.
Mantic's
Out of the Creed
I feel like
Mantic's
in
book
many
and
ways,
doing some like
whilst
Dead Zone
the
stuff?
Kroot and the Navy Voidsman, tremendously exciting reveal in its own right, and the concept of this new setting inside Galadark and all these different factions from around the 140
Into the Dark is the new
converging
box set
to
then.
fight battles in space. It's also a massive tease, right? And I'm not even that sorry for it. Andrelli says, "I want plastic floor," and don't we all? So let's see what comes in good time. And if you've said, "Oh, but I really want to kill Team Witches," and then you've shouted the name of the thing you like, maybe you'll get it. I don't know, especially if they're like in space a bit. That'd be cool. Right. Whew. I'm observing the time, and I wish to do a brief recap of the awesome things we have seen. So, today, Wade, we have had the joy of seeing the new Warcry reveal with Heart
Very
of Gur.
much,
Wade
very
has
much
been
so far,
carefully
yeah.
holding the books under his desk. Here is the picture of the box. Heart of Gur, Skirmish Combat in the Realm
So,
of Feasts.
With
An
Heart of
amazing
Gur,
new setting for Warcry.
like the new
Same
terrain.
game you love.
Terrain's very cool.
Tweaked and invigorated.
I like that they've
and
got
ready
the
for fighting
followers
in
of
an
a shut in there,
environment
that's
where
nice.
everything is trying to kill everything else.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Obviously,
Built on the
we
lore, very
saw
cool.
The
Very
Goliath
nice.
Maulers.
Yes, my boy.
Kind of like the Maulers,
the best thing
basically
on
orc vehicles.
wheels and or tracks or whatever that
I would
spindly
add
thing
the
was
wheel,
that was just like a spiky
But otherwise,
appendage for
very nice
driving on.
vehicle for orcs.
Chains for hair.
They've reinvented the wheel because they've made it out of a buzzsaw. They're geniuses, the Goliaths. Look at them.
I think
There we
when
go.
these release, we basically all need
Buzzsaw
to
wheels.
share the thing we've made that isn't actually a Goliath out of it, because I can't wait to see what everybody does. Fantastic. We next had Hexbane's Hunters. This warband looks sensational.
I absolutely
It's
love
a
everything
glorious
about
nod
them.
to the world that was and that beloved Witch Hunter warband from Mordheim.
Not gonna
but
play the
it's
game,
also
but
a nod to the Order of
absolutely
Azir,
love those miniatures.
Sigmar's
I think
own
they're
special
amazing. I think they're
hunter
really
force
good.
For rooting out evil and banishing it with like guns and
Very
stakes
cool
and
model.
magic potions
And dogs.
And dogs.
Gold
First
Frankenstein
dogs
and
of the
Gur.
day. Chat went mad. There's a guy in chat who was just determined to
that.
say Fimir. I love his enthusiasm, but it just ain't happening today. Next, we had the Amazon team, Blood Bowl team.
Pretty
so
cool
the sort of
Amazon team.
alternate version of the world
Very
war
nice to see that
as
they've
well.
going down the route
Hailing
of
from
building up
luxury
more and more of
determined to,
these
conquer all on the gridiron.
classic
Incredible
teams from
setting,
Blood Bowl and bringing
faces,
them back into the
particular.
mix. Very nice.
Absolutely
I'm
stellar
looking for
work.
the little frog.
And
Oh,
then
no one has a
we
frog.
rounded it all off with just about the most exciting thing you could possibly hope to see, which is Kill
I
Team
will look
coming
through the
to
article
space,
after this, yeah.
New Kroot Warband,
So-
also some other things in the set, like the Imperial Navy Breachers.
Like the
but
Navy
mostly
Breachers with the
all
shotguns.
the Kroot,
Very
all
cool.
the time. I am just made up.
I think it's a great expression of.
And
one
I
of
really
the
like the
best
Kroot
things
with the
about
pulse
these sorts of
rifle, but as
skirmish
Tuffy
games,
says,
it gives, the
I think
miniatures
Ron was
designers
saying as well,
and
they're all
studios a
very
great opportunity
static, which is a
to
shame.
Show off the sorts of things that we
But I
definitely
really
know
like the
exist
Kroot to
in
getting a
modern
look in,
Grimdark
which is
the
very
far
very
future,
nice.
but we don't necessarily fit into the convention of army. So naval breaching teams, you don't send the naval breaching team into Warhammer 40,000 because you've got the Astra Militarum to do that. You've got the army. That's what the army is. But sometimes you don't get the army to go and do boarding actions on a spaceship because you've only
They
got
won't
the Navy
mention any
fleet.
prices,
They don't
Tim.
necessarily
No.
have mercenary squads of Kroot because they'd get stepped on by a Titan if they're on a war.
The best thing to do is to probably look at the
Titan in space war very
prices
easily.
of
Never say never, of course, but we'll wait and see.
previous
Likewise, X-Wing Hunters, the
box
Army
sets,
of
I
Azir,
think.
the Order of Azir, represented.
And you probably
in
see
the
that they're
Warcry
about the
realms,
same price.
Definitely in Black Library fiction, definitely creeping around doing all sorts of
Good
good
thing for
stuff.
Soul Man role-playing game.
I don't know if there was an old world image.
Callus and Toll, we've seen them doing some investigative work before in Black Library books. They're definitely there, but again, they might get stepped on by a Mega Gargant very easily if they were on a battlefield. But again, difficult to fit a Mega Gargant into the Warhammer Underworlds environment. So a great way to see more of what we know exists and let the miniatures designers flex their muscles.
That
and
Navy
show us what
team
that
is
looks like
very
with
cool.
glorious Plastic.
So, I agree.
It'd be
First
very
of all,
interesting to see the rest
you
of the
can't tell me
Kroot
anything
team.
I could wax lyrical about if we had another
'Cause
hour.
there's probably
I
about
was
another
appreciating all the
6
corners,
miniatures
like
in there,
tiny
probably,
little
I would
dark
imagine.
corners of the worlds of Warhammer. I
Maybe,
would like
maybe
to
another
see
preview.
brought out.
Maybe another preview.
One day, maybe. Or Adam and Wade, just allowed to chatter about nonsense for an hour. I would like to know, chat, you've been with us for the last 60
What are your
minutes.
favourites from there?
What
So,
is your favourite thing you've seen
Tuffy, I
today?
think you're
Let us
you're
know
liking
in
the
chat.
the
I,
Navy
for one,
set.
am excited. Hit us.
Ron, you're
Dogs.
quite liking the
I did
Hexbane
wonder if
crew,
dogs
very
might feature.
cool.
Kroot, a
Dogs.
lot of Kroot. Somebody says none of it. Well, I think you have come with
Drop
the
your
wrong
thoughts in, what you think of the rest of it.
A lot of Kroot. Plastic Floor, Void Team, Goliath
Plastic
Bike.
Floor.
A lot of Warcry. Somebody desperate for Famir, bless them. Witch Hunters.
Um,
I think it's fair to
Apart from
say
them
that
revealing
had
that the
nice
kill team stuff wasn't
blend of
anything that
things
anybody
from
ever thought it was going to be, I think that's
blend of
batting.
things. We're all
So,
innocent men.
that was like the most
I
surprising
guess
thing,
this is
that
the
the
bit where I
the
round up.
recruit kill
First of
team.
all, I would like to thank
And,
all of you
for Lloyd.
marvellous people who've
And,
joined us in the chat. More than 18,000
the
of
Breacher
you
team.
right now choosing to spend a bit of your Sunday with us, hanging out, being excited about Warhammer. Thank you to Raf. He is the tech priest with the mostest. Also, fixed the sound issues when they read the head. There were no sound issues in the practice, we promise. Thank you to Notley, Moderati.
Are you reckon you're going to get the
Just
whole
making
kit,
sure the chat
Andrew,
behaved.
or do you
And
reckon you're
are
only
the
going to
chat,
pick the
and you did
terrain
behave,
or
so
one of the
thank you for making
warbands?
his life
Or
easy. Lastly, Wade, thank you to you, being a person who knew.
we'll have a
all the
scroll
answers to
through
that
things
I
after
didn't.
this anyway and have a
And
better
to all
look
the
at
people in the
stuff.
Warhammer Studios
So,
who made these super dope models, because I'm like beyond hyped. So basically, if you made, painted, wrote, edited, did a box or whatever, awesome work. I am hyped. This is it from me. We'll see you again very soon.
Well, because it's not a Goliath bike, it's an Orc bike. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so that was the preview. So let's go to Warhammer Community and have a peeky weeky at what was in the previews. Then, so are they going to put it all in one place? No, they're not. Okay, so right, let's go with this first. This was second, and this was third. Okie dokie dokie dokie. No, there were no frogs. Boo. Boo. Right, so, okie dokie. Right, so we had the new stuff for Warcry, which was this brand new set, which was the Heart of Gur. And that came with this big new set of terrain, as you see here. Like, I think that terrain is fantastic. I think that's really, really cool for making, for building onto Age of Sigmar boards as well as just Warcry. I think it's a really nice way of doing things. Everyone thinks that everyone wishes that they would finish things before they build more, but unfortunately, that never seems to be the way. I have my fingers crossed for you, though, Andrew. Okay, so we got that new terrain stuff, and I think that was really, really cool. That was a really nice way of building on stuff. And then we had the Rotmire Creed, which are these guys. So, impressive model, but as we were saying, is this too sort of static as a model? Got the fellow with the blowpipe there, another blowpipe. Getting that Nurgle vibes going on. He's one that we saw ages ago, like a couple of months ago now, actually, in an article. I think Free covered that on OTT. He's very nice. They're pretty cool as well. I like all the bamboo-y reed stuff. I think that's a nice touch. I like the hoods and the cowls and the masks. I think that's a really nice way of doing things. it means that you don't have to paint too much of their flesh either, which is quite cool. So you can have fun with it. It's going to be a pain in the arse trying to get it inside there and paint all that though, which would be one issue for me. But because I'm a cack-handed fool. He's cool. He's got like a death rattle skeleton mask, which is quite nice. And I like all the bubos and the pus and everything on the models. That's quite cool as well. You've got a little kind of like Nurgle symbol there in the centre, which is kind of nice. And then you've got that sort of more classic look to the Nurgle thing with the hooded cowl and the broken horn, which you saw in an old Chaos Champion from One Fantasy Battles, I think it was. You reckon there'll be 16 Kroot and 3 Kroot Hounds. So you reckon it'll be kind of like them making a new Kroot box set, but it could also be used for 40k. That could be kind of interesting mecha. The train would be good for Ash Waste. The concept for the set, yeah, actually that's true. You could have that as being like massive alien Xenos beasts that have been killed, and instead that's what the warbands are made out of. Oh, so you could do some really fun stuff with that actually, if you went a bit sci-fi with it. So yeah, so they're pretty cool. And then we have the Horns of Ashut, which are in no way related to Chaos Dwarves, Chaos Duardin, at all. Yes, they are. See the runes. So they've got their bull helms that remind me of the gold from Stargate. I kind of like the helmet design. I'd use these just as like stand-in Chaos Marauder warriors and that kind of stuff as well in my warbands. I was doing stuff, but pretty nice. I love the dude with the the apiary steamer. I can't not see that now, Tuffy. The apiary steamer. It's very cool. And then of course we've got some more of their characters as well. There, you've got some more poisons and bombs and all that kind of stuff as well. If it is that many Kroot, then there's a whole bunch of stuff you could use it for, which would be very, very different. I just tend to think of them doing things in 10s now, but I suppose it depends how elite the unit is. I mean, I guess the stuff they've done for Orcs and for Krieg was about sort of 10 models each, wasn't it? Maybe, or was there maybe up to 12? Maybe we'll have to have a look. But yeah, some pretty cool Hashut models. I like the armoured fellows with the helmets. I'm not so sure on these poor dregs of society, but I think they'd be nice for use in like role-playing games and stuff like that. For some reason, he reminds me of like someone who was in like a music video in the 80s or something, or like Right Said Fred or something. Krieg was 10. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe about 10 or 12 then. But, yeah. So here's some more of that terrain then, which was very cool. So, yeah, so I love that. I mean, that'll be a lot of work to paint it, but it'll be very nice. Maybe if you broke out the airbrush for it. Got those gnarled trees and stuff. I like the fact that it's almost like muscles rather than just being a tree. I think that's a really nice way to do them. Pretty cool. And the fact that it's all around like a crashed Seraphon ship as well, I think is a really nice way to do things. So yeah, pretty nice. Right, so that was the Warcry stuff. Then we had the new bike for the or mobile, sandmobile, ashmobile for the Goliaths. So we got this one with like the grinding wheel for crushing things and eating things up, with looks like bolters on the side of it. It's kind of cool. Just take the Goliath off and you've got an orc vehicle. Replace those with shooters or stubbers or something like that, or just keep them as bolters, I guess. And then you had this version which gets rid of like the grinding bit and puts the big tyre in the middle, which I think is nice, but I think I prefer that one. I think it looks a bit more mean, nasty and horrible. Well, that's kind of cool. But I've actually started talking about the rules for them as well, which is quite nice. But yeah, decent enough, I suppose, but mainly just as conversion stuff. Yeah, it was a bit weird that they spent so much time bigging up Necromunda, and this was it. Like, this could have just been a Warhammer preview. This could have been a Warhammer community thing, couldn't it, really? I thought they were going to show more than one vehicle. I thought they were going to show vehicles for maybe 2 or 3 factions. But then I guess they're drip feeding it, I suppose. Which is a real shame for the other factions, though, because you're like, oh, the Goliaths get something, and then you have to wait ages before you get something else for your team. Unless they, you know, change things up vastly, I suppose. But yeah. So they've got their new battle bike. Then we got possibly my favourites from the show, which are the Haskell's Hexbanes, which I just think are fantastic. Just got that proper old school look of a witch hunter, but with a little bit of Age of Sigmar flair. You could replace those, or just use them as they is, and use them as these, and use them in Mordheim or something if you really wanted to, or bring them into different games, or 40k, or Inquisitor, or Necromunda, Kill Team, anything you wanted, I reckon. Really cool models. Love that big burly guy with the big axe. Stick a big generator on his back or something, and that suddenly makes him into a bit more of a 40k type dude. Put some like valves and stuff on there. Maybe put some bits and bobs on the axe to make it into like a power weapon or something like that. Could be very nice. Replace the head with like a masked bionic one or something as well. This fellow's just great. Just replace that. Well, probably keep that as it is, maybe, and then add just a few more sci-fi bits here and there, and I think you've got a really nice model for that. And you've got this lady with the pistol, the repeating pistol, and the axe as well, and the firewood stakes for taking out vampires, as is their way, which is quite cool. And then the bestest boys, the 2 Warhounds, which again speak back to classic Mordheim-y stuff, which is very nice. And I really like that one of them is a bit more scarred and beaten up than the other one. I think that's really cool. And they look hench as well. Hench dogs. So yeah, very nice stuff there. And I guess they have other stuff that can be used in the game. So yeah. I know a lot of people will probably pick these up and start using them for Warhammer Underworlds though, which is kind of cool. So very nice. Yeah. So some good stuff there. Have they put up the rest of the stuff now? Yes, they have. Here we go. So let's open these up and have a looky wookie. Yep. So we had the Amazons for Blood Bowl. Fun team. Nice that they're sticking with the idea of this kind of bright and poppy, colourful look for a lot of the stuff in Blood Bowl, which is nice. Makes them really good fun for using a variety of with a variety of paint schemes, which is cool. Very nice stuff. Love the python on the back and stuff. I wish there was a frog. I wish there was a little frog like in the artwork, but we can't have everything, can we? I suppose. So yeah, very cool stuff. I hope that doesn't look as weird as it does here. And you don't have to blackline it to try and make it feel like it stands out, but we'll see, I suppose. Very nice Amazonians. Very nice stuff. Good to see that carrying on. Look, the little tiny frog. I want the frog. And then last of all, we had the new Kill Team stuff. So, Into the Dark is the new box set. Works as a self-contained game, but comes with everything else you need for using them in other games of Kill Team at the same time. So they're landing on the vessel, the Gallow Dark, which is cool. And you've got these new breaches. So bolt pistol in hand, very cool captain figure with her like power sword and stuff going on, which is nice. Mag boots for working in low gravity. Cool Cylon-esque Imperial Navy helmet as well. Sort of your breacher with almost like a cabin door thing going on as his shield, which is nice. And the shotgun there that loads in the shield, which is cool. They're all void warded, which is a nice touch. and you've got the fellow reloading the shotgun and the case falling out and dropping to the ground as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, very cool stuff. Nice models indeed. And then going up against them, we had the Kroot. So we've got the Kroot. I'm gonna say it's a Kroot Shaper, probably leading the way, with the pulse rifle and the really nasty wicked sword. Got the foot on rock thing going on, even in the middle of a space hulk apparently. I like that model. I think it's really cool. I think they did a nice job with that. I think it's got enough movement in it, I think, with the cloak and the way that that's all been set up. That's quite nice. And then we have one with a sort of bow, which is an interesting concept. A bit static, as Tuffy was saying, but pretty cool. And then another Kroot Shaper with like a saber on his back. And then he's loading his Kroot rifle, and he's got his hand on his little pistol as well. And then a little tiny Kroot Hound, which has been incredibly well updated to fit in with the new aesthetic of everything, which is cool. So yeah. These are obviously going to be much bigger than just these 3-4 models. I reckon we're going to see bet boxes of about 10 based on the Krieg stuff and all that kind of thing. And then you've got this new Kill Team Space Hulk terrain as well to dive into and have fun with. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff there for that. I think if I was to say what was the best thing, I think it would have to be Hexbane's Hunters. I think Hexbane's Hunters are a really cool warband, very nice models, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be picking them up and using them for all sorts of different things. The next most surprising thing was probably the fact that we didn't get Kasakins and Tyranids, but instead we got the Breacher team for the Imperial Navy, which is a very cool set of models already, and also some Kroot. So yeah, some interesting things there from the Warhammer Summer Skirmish Preview. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching along. It was very nice to sit here and chat about Warhammery goodness on a Sunday afternoon, even though it's very, very hot. But yeah, nice stuff. I'm sure other people will be diving in and chatting about things for a very long time about all this kind of stuff, but it does look like it has some alligator DNA in it. Very, very true. But yeah, some cool bits and pieces, I think, for everyone to get their teeth sink their teeth into with this. And it'll be fun to see where we go with more of their previews in the near future. Just a little bit of an experiment doing this kind of live streamy thing. I think it worked okay. It'll be fun to see how it looks when it's all sort of ticked over and gone back into the system of YouTube. And if anybody watches any more of it and stuff. But yeah. Make sure to go and check out the video if you haven't already done so over on YouTube. Just going to go and check it out for you. So let's go to here. Oh, there we go. So yeah, if you didn't watch it already, there's my video from earlier today where I talked about Leagues of Votan and the squats and what I'm going to be doing with them. So yeah, go and have a look at that. And yeah, I'll be back next week with another video. It's probably going to be on Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, so keep an eye out for that in the near future as well. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to go and open the windows and let some air back into my room because, oh my god, it is way too hot. That was an interesting little preview, and I will be coming back for more videos next week and carrying things on, diving into more stuff in the future. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I shall see you all very, very soon. Bye for now. Awkward wave.